Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we get ready for our 8th race of the season for the NCRA Gaming Indycar Series, as we are going to have our only back-to-back road course stop of the season. We've been alternating between road courses and speedways, and this is the only time that we're going to have one road course followed by another road course. We'll be going back to a speedway next week, and we are at Mid-Ohio here today. This is a very interesting racetrack. This racetrack kind of is almost very similar to Infineon in the fact that there are some really, really difficult turns, a lot of elevation changes, and there's not a complete paperclip final turn, but it is a pretty similar turn in the fact that you have to almost go 180 degrees around a right-hander. But we'll be getting set for 25 laps of racing here today. The point standing is not quite as close coming into this race as it has been the last couple of weeks, but we'll see what happens as we get set for the running of today's race. We'll give you the point standings in just a minute as Nathan Ormond lines up on the pole position for this one. Alongside of him is going to be last week's winner from Toronto. That's Chris Dodd. Jake Rogers, he's going to be in row 2 along with Cole Baker. Row 3, you've got your current points leader, Eli Bright, alongside of Jonathan Zorlin. Charles Jackson lines up alongside of second in points, Jacob Rose. And then it's Pichu London and Jordan Lopez in the top 10. Then it's Jay Jefferson alongside of Tripentacchia Vernio. Vernio's up to 6th in points. Alexander Rowe alongside of Zach Flickinger, a couple of former winners this season. Then you got Austin LaPlante alongside of Mason Wood. Matthew Rodriguez, our Texas race winner, alongside Johnny Gardner. Noah Kars, our winner at St. Petersburg, alongside of our Road America winner, Kev Shearer. And then Matt Haas makes up the final row with Carson Gum. So that is your lineup for today's race. And let's get the command.
Drivers, start your engines!
So there's the command to fire them up. Let's give you the points coming into this race. Eli Bright, as we mentioned, is the points leader by 6 points over Jacob Rose. Matt Haas, currently third in the standings. He is 11 points back. Chris Dodd, after his win last week, jumped up to 4th in points. He is 19 points out, and the top 5 is completed by Noah Kars. Then you got Tripentacchia Vernio, Carson Gum, Kev Shearer, Matthew Rodriguez, and Cole Baker. That's your top 10 points coming to this race. As the green flag is out, let's roll! Already 3 wide going into 1. That's Jake Rogers down on the bottom. And now he'll be on the outside line. Look at him, 3 wide, a couple of rows deep, going down into this hard right-hander. Jake Rogers is off track. I don't know if that would bring out a full course yellow or not. We do have local yellows here. No caution, and Jake Rogers is going to get it back on track. Another car off the racing surface. That's Jordan Lopez in the 14. He gets it back on track, though. Tough start to this race for Jake Rogers. And there goes another car off track. That's Cole Baker, and several cars are spinning. The caution will definitely come out for this. As off the racetrack now, I think that's Chris Dodd. Eli Bright's gone off the racing surface. These drivers struggling with this racetrack early on in this thing. Big time problems over there in that heavy braking zone. And now look at this. Off track goes Nathan Ormond. Off track goes Chris Dodd. And here comes Jonathan Zorlin now. He's looking for 2nd place. He'll take it. So now the 2 Penske drivers out in front, 1-2. Ormond in the lead, Zorlin into 2nd. Chris Dodd now drops back into 3rd. And I believe that Zach Flickinger now in 4th as they will cross the line there. And there you saw the full course yellow was out. Undoubtedly for what we saw just take place over in that heavy braking zone from the right-hander up the hill to the left-hander. Alexander Rowe, Matt Haas back here. They got involved. There's Jay Jefferson and Noah Kars. The first car I saw get out of shape is right there. Cole Baker in the 8. Carson Gum back there as well. And I didn't see anybody have to teleport to pit road unless someone is already retired from the race. No? All 22 cars are currently still shown running, and we saw Alexander Rowe, the last car scored running, was still going. So we'll take a look at a replay of what put us under the caution for the first time here today at Mid-Ohio. Take a look first and see what happened to Jake Rogers. This did not bring out a full course yellow. He had tried 3 wide going into the first corner, and that stuck him on the outside 3 wide heading into the next corner. That right-hander gets off the surface just enough that he loses the grip. Car snaps around on him, and pretty heavy contact there with the left side into that tire barrier. He was able to continue, but I think they're going to have some repairs to make on that machine when he brings it to the pit lane. And this is maybe the toughest part of this racetrack here. Long straightaway, you carry a lot of speed, and then you got to slam on the brakes. And I don't rightly know if maybe Cole Baker had a little bit of help from behind, courtesy of Jonathan Zorlin. Pichu London goes spinning, though, and there you see them all just start not being able to make that corner. I think going double wide just was not a good idea. Carson Gum went off the track a little. That's the Jay Jefferson machine, that red Target car there, facing the wrong way. Makes a little bit of contact there. I think that was with Johnny Gardner. You see everyone trying to scatter left and right to get through. A little contact there for, was that Matt Haas? No, it wasn't Matt Haas. It might have been no, it wasn't even Alexander Rowe. It might have been Noah Cars, actually. Oh, and then Johnny Gardner up here, you see him go a little wide, and he gets into the outside wall a bit with the right side of his machine. I think that was the 4 of Noah Cars, yeah, that got held up behind Jay Jefferson. Did we have another wreck? Because we had Alexander Rowe and Matt Haas way at the back, and they're both right here. They crossed the line after Jefferson. Oh, yeah, right back there you see Alexander Rowe's car snap loose. He spun around. And I have a feeling something might have happened to the 28 up here at some point, because he crossed the line with Alexander Rowe. Is it maybe off this corner? Oh, maybe right here. Carson Gum goes wide. No? Oh, wait a minute. It might have been down into this one. This is another one of those hard braking zones with a right-hander turn into a left-hander up at the top of the hill. Oh, right there. Yep. Contact with Carson Gum. Carson gets him in the left rear. But they both saved it. Oh, and then right there. Yep, he overdrives it right there. Thing fishtails, goes around on him and into the steel guardrail. Boy, it looks like grip is a big-time problem for these drivers here today, and I don't think that was the last caution we'll be seeing in this one either. We've gotten the lights out atop the pace car, so we'll go back green. Lap 4 of 25 is when the green flag will be displayed once again. Nathan Ormond out in front over teammate Jonathan Zorlin. And you got Chris Dodd back there in 3rd, Flickinger in 4th, Eli Bright right there, continuing on with his consistent runs. He's in the top 5 and 5th. Then it's Charles Jackson, Matthew Rodriguez, Jordan Lopez, Jacob Rose, and Pichu London. That is your top 10. Nobody out of the race, but a number of drivers came to pit road, made some repairs. And they will continue on as the green flag is back out here in Mid-Ohio. Battle for the lead is on. Jonathan Zorlin wasting no time trying to get around his teammate, Nathan Ormond. They'll carry that double wide battle down here into this corner, and this could get a little hairy. Gotta keep it on the racing surface, and he does. Oh, almost some contact there with Flickinger as he gets around Chris Dodd. That was for the 3rd position. And Zorlin will take the top position using that outside line. They're all trying to get single file coming down here into this heavy braking zone. Let's see if they can all make it through this time. Nope, there goes someone around. I think that was Matthew Rodriguez. Jacob Rose just went around. That'll probably bring out a caution again. That is going to be the biggest trouble spot today. There's just no doubt about it. I've raced this track before. I've raced this track with these race cars before. It's just so difficult to be able to time your braking just right. As we just saw Nathan Ormond go wide. That allowed Zach Flickinger the opportunity to go to the inside. He'll take the 2nd position. Whoa, one car way off track back there. I think that was Jordan Lopez. He keeps it together, and look at Flickinger. He wants the race lead, but I don't think he'll get it coming to the line. Jonathan Zorlin will hang out at least for the moment. And oh my goodness, we aren't under caution. I thought that spin that went on back there was going to bring the yellow flag out. It was not a full course yellow. Well, kudos to NNSCRA for figuring out whether or not it'd be worth throwing a full course yellow. Apparently they did not deem it necessary, and there goes Zach Flickinger. He's off the track and into the tire barriers. He's going to lose a lot of spots, but he's going to keep going. Almost ran into Kev Shearer and Charles Jackson. So that means that with the NNSCRA officials making the call of not throwing a full course yellow, our NNSCRA cameramen and our editors in the truck will have to show you, courtesy of our NNSCRA split cam, what happened there. Matthew Rodriguez, I know, was one car that was involved in whatever that spin was. And I think one guy that's very happy it's not a full course yellow is Jonathan Zorlin, because right now he's got a gap back to his second place teammate, Nathan Orman. Chris Dodd now there in third, and look at this, so they're going to go 3 wide up in this corner. They are! Contact Lopez, what a save! That car was completely sideways going into the entrance of that corner as Eli Bright and Zach Flickinger were going to take it 3 wide. How that car did not spin out, I have no idea. What a wheelman that was for Jordan Lopez. Oy, oy, oy. Penske Racing 1-2-4 right now. Mason Wood currently in that 4th position. Chris Dodd, the one breaking them all up from being 1-2-3. Is Jonathan Zorlin continuing to show the way. Comes into this race 18th in the point standings, 3 top 10s, but no finishes in the top 5, so looking good right now. Tripentacchio Vernio is on pit road in the 63, and there's a car that just got into the tire barriers, and that was Johnny Gardner. So it looks like Gardner's day may be over. Vernio, I'm assuming this is an unscheduled stop for him. We'll be showing you what happened to the 63 and the 2. We just caught the tail end of the 2 hitting those tire barriers, and a lot of times you hit the tire barriers nose first, your day is over. We've seen a couple of drivers hit the tire barriers in that hard right-hander, the second corner of this track. Jake Rogers and just recently Zach Flickinger, but they've been able to continue on. As a matter of fact, Flickinger, despite hitting that tire barrier, he's fighting back. He's up in the 6th position right now. Pretty good comeback for him. Just trying to get around Charles Jackson. That would be for 5th. This is actually a good battle back here from 3rd on back. Chris Dodd, Mason Wood, Charles Jackson, and Zach Flickinger. Flickinger to the inside. Nice move. Almost some contact there between himself and Jackson. They keep together. Another car off track back there. It's a yellow car. Might have been Matt Haas. And indeed it is, and he's into the tire barriers. Matt Haas, who came into this race 3rd in the point stands, and just like that, looks like his day may be over. Vernio has returned back to the racetrack in the 63. I think he is still on the tail end of the lead lap, but he's a long ways back. Whoa! Wide corner there for Jonathan Zorlin. 2 tires hitting the tire barriers. I don't think that tire barrier needs any more tires there, Jonathan. Orman there in 2nd, and like I said, this is the best battle going on here. Wow! Flickinger made a little contact there with Charles Jackson. Jackson never lifted. He nearly ran over Chris Dodd, and now Jackson's going to move into the 3rd position. I think Chris Dodd may have gotten the tire barrier wall just the least little bit on the left side of his race car, coming off that final corner. So now he slips from 3rd all the way back to the 5th position. Kev Shearer fighting his way up into the top 10. He's now up in 7th place. Former winner at the road course of Road America. Trying to win here at Mid-Ohio, and right behind him there is Eli Bright. Now the car that Eli Bright is most concerned about here today would be Jacob Rose, who comes in 6 points behind him in the standings, 2nd in points. The good news for him right now, though, is Jacob Rose is running further back than Eli Bright. So right now, Eli Bright in a very good position to be carrying over his points lead heading into next week. Now, I say that, barring him having any issues. Man, this battle up here is really good. Look at that. Wow, what a move there by Mason Wood. Chris Dodd off track just the least little bit. And now off track again, and that time he'll have to surrender what I believe would be the 5th position to Mason Wood. Oh, wow, that car was way wide off that corner, and that was Eli Bright. He almost got into the steel guardrail, which is just about as unforgiving as the tire barriers are. Four cars right there. He's currently in ninth, and Jay Jefferson, we saw him spin out, bringing out the first caution when there was that big melee wreck over in that one of those uphill S's. And right now he's running solidly in 10th place. Got a car off track, another car. That was Chris Dodd, last week's winner. Chris Dodd in trouble. He's going to drop back to about the 10th position now, and I think Zach Flickinger had a tussle again with the tire barriers there in turn 2. Ooh, my goodness, he and Eli Bright awfully close, and there's another car off track. I think that was Noah Kars, but he kept it going. These are not off-road vehicles. It's open-wheel racing, not off-road racing. This driver's getting an education in some off-road racing here today, no doubt about that, as that was Mason Wood going wide through that corner, and now he'll give up a position to Kev Shearer, move Shearer now, I think, up to the 4th spot. Charles Jackson there in 3rd. Nathan Ormond, though, in 2nd, and long gone with the race lead is Jonathan Zorlin. Zorlin not having to contend with anybody, so he's got the easiest job on the racetrack. Maybe even Nathan Ormond as well. They can just hit their marks, not really have to worry about much. Ooh, that seemed a little wide through that corner for Jonathan Zorlin, but no harm, no foul. Still kept it on the racing surface. And Charles Jackson may have company for that final podium position in just a moment. Kev Shearer starting to reel him in, and he's bringing Mason Wood along with him. Got a good battle going on as well for the 6th position. Eli Bright has it. Zach Flickinger wants it. Ooh, boy, don't bump. Flickinger way wide as he tried to carry more speed off that corner. That's going to cost him now as he'll lose touch with Eli Bright, and now this battle going on for the 5th position that's 4th actually, between Kev Shearer and Mason Wood. Shearer off the course just a bit. Mason Wood with a big run, and he will take the spot. So move him to 4th, Shearer back to 5th. Eli Bright starting to close in on this battle. Let's see if, yeah, indeed, both Matt Haas and Johnny Gardner that we saw get into the tire barriers, they have both taken their cars behind the wall. Jake Rogers has scored a lap down in the 98. I don't know if that was due to another incident or if it was him having to get repairs done after he was one of the first cars to hit the tire barrier wall right down here in this corner. Oh, we're at a caution. I didn't even see the flagman waving the yellow, but the caution flag is out. Pace car has picked up the race leader, Jonathan Zorlin. So for the 2nd time today, we are under a full course yellow, just getting close to the halfway point of this race. Oh, and it may have actually been Jake Rogers that brought out that caution, because he is on pit road, and we saw he was scored off the lead lap. So let's jump back, take a look at a replay of what happened. If it was Jake Rogers, Jonathan Zorlin was the one guy who probably did not want to see that caution flag come out. But it has, the field's bunched back up, and this should be a very interesting restart when we do go back to green. Well, Jake Rogers was not the reason for the full course yellow. It was Matthew Rodriguez. Watch here. 25 cars going to get off track, and I don't know if he snapped around first or if he got a little help from, I think that's Austin LaPlante just behind him there. And Matthew Rodriguez facing the wrong way with oncoming traffic. That's why officials throw in the full course yellow. Oh my goodness, whoa! He had a little contact there from Carson Gum. I don't know if it was the air of Carson going by or if there was contact with the 77, but Matthew Rodriguez's car almost flipped over. That was a little bit interesting. And that's what puts us under the full course yellow for the 2nd time here today at Mid-Ohio. Getting ready to go back green. Jonathan Zorlin, just at the halfway point, will put us back under the green flag with Nathan Norman behind him in second. Charles Jackson now in third. Mason Wood, Kev Shearer, that's your top five, and the green flag is back in the air. We have one more driver back behind the wall, joining Matt Haas and Johnny Gardner. That is Jake Rogers. We had a number of drivers take the opportunity to come to pit road. Whoa, 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 whoa! Contact back there between Vernio, and I think that was Matthew Rodriguez, and there goes some cars into the wall. Beach-U Ludden, and there's Noah Cars. Matthew Rodriguez, Jacob Rose, and Carson Gum. That bring out a yellow. It's hard to be able to see the pace car with that camera angle. There we go. We're going to go to TV2 just for the moment there. But no caution out. No full course yellow. That was Mason Wood, and he's going to get into Eli Bright. Told you this restart was going to be mayhem. New second place car, Charles Jackson, or I can make that Kev Shearer rather, has moved into second place. No, that is Charles Jackson. It's hard to tell Jackson and Shearer apart. And Jackson just got off course, so Nathan Norman now moves back into second place. Kev Shearer off the course. Brings it back on. Top three have broken away. Zorlin, Ormond, Jackson. All three still looking for their first win of the season. So far, we have had 7 races, 7 different race winners. The closest former winner that's up here at the front is Kev Shearer in fourth, and one car way off the racetrack back there. He may have gotten to the tire barriers. I don't even know who that was. That was, is that Chris Dodd? It's either Chris Dodd or Cole Baker. I can't tell which. I'll have to see when they come by here. He just shot straight off into the out-of-bounds section, and I believe that's Cole Baker. That is. Baker going for a bit of a ride. Jordan Lopez is on pit road, as is Jay Jefferson. As Zorlin, though, continued to show the way, the battle is on for second. Ormond has it, Jackson wants it, and Jackson is hounding Nathan Ormond. Jackson almost tried going into the grass to get the spot. Now he's going to be able to get him as Ormond goes wide through that corner. So now move Charles Jackson to second place. And as all this is going on, easy for me to say, as all this is going on, behind him, Jonathan Zorlin is continuing to pull away. But now Jackson seems to be in control of second place, so if he can distance himself away from Nathan Ormond, he may be able to start setting his sights on Jonathan Zorlin. Mentioned that just before we saw Cole Baker take that little adventure off the first corner, that so far in the top 5, the only driver that has been to victory lane already this season is Kev Shearer, winning at Road America. Even Eli Bright in 5th place, the guy who came into this race the points leader, has yet to find victory lane this season. Bright comes in the points leader. He's in 5th. Zorlin comes into this race 18th in points. Nathan Ormond 19th in points. And Charles Jackson 17th in points. So 17th, 18th, 19th, all up inside the top 5, plus the points leader, Kev Shearer, trying to become the first repeat winner this season. Amazing the cars don't spin out when they get off course in that section. It's not quite sand that's in these runoff areas. It's more like a hardened packed clay, so it's like a runoff area for these drivers. But you just got to make sure you don't wheel spin. If you wheel spin, the thing's going to come around on you, and then you're in trouble. Zorlin pulling away. Then there's a gap back to Jackson. Then there's a gap back to Ormond. But very slowly, the gap between himself and Kev Shearer is beginning to close up. So this may be the best battle closest to the front of the field that we're going to see heating up here in just a moment. Also got a potential battle brewing with, I believe that's Mason Wood in 7th, trying to reel in Chris Dodd in the 6th position. Point stands will definitely be shaking up again after this road course. But I think we may end up with where Eli Bright's running. I think he's going to continue to open up his points lead for sure. Only two drivers that are running well right now that came into this race top 5 in the points are Eli Bright and Chris Dodd. They're in 5th and 6th on track. Bright came in the points leader, Chris Dodd came in 4th. Kev Shearer could very well move back up into the top 5 in the standings with the run he's having right now. Let's see if Jefferson and Lopez. Jefferson, I think, has returned back to the track. He's a lap down, but Jordan Lopez has retired from the race. So 18 cars still running, and nope, looks like Jefferson still is on pit road. So 18 cars are currently listed as still running, 17 on the lead lap. Meanwhile, Jonathan Zorlin continuing to show the way. One car off track, and that was Nathan Ormond, who was running in 3rd, and he's hit the tire barriers. The engine has gone up in a plume of black smoke, and that's bringing out the yellow. Full course yellow is out. So they're racing back to the caution flag. And just like that, Nathan Ormond, who never fell outside the podium all day long, looks like going to be out of this race. We're going to have less than 10 laps to go when we do get back green. Jonathan Zorlin is not out of the woods yet. He's going to have to do it at least one more time and try and hold them all off. Charles Jackson currently in 2nd. Now with Ormond out of the race, Kev Shearer inherits 3rd. Eli Bright's now up to 4th with Chris Dodd in the 5th position. Then be Mason Wood, Zach Flickinger, Pichu London, Tripataki Vernio, and I don't know necessarily who would move into 10th place as we are now under the caution flag. 10th place would be, as we're waiting for him to cross the line, London 8th, Vernio 9th, and Jacob Rose now would be in the 10th position. So it looks like we will get the green flag with about maybe 6 laps to go in this one. Let's take a look at what brought out this yellow flag for the 3rd time here today at Mid-Ohio. And here it was, and it was just Nathan Ormond making a fatal mistake. He goes into the corner. Watch the left rear tire right there. You see where it gets off course just the least little bit? That's going to cause the wheel to spin. He loses the grip. Car continues to drift off course, and we've seen it happen to Gardner today. We saw it happen to Matt Haas. And right there, you see that black smoke pluming out of the front of his machine. And in order to get his race car off the track, they had to throw a full course yellow. Now, the reason that the car erupted in smoke right there and wasn't able to get off the tire barriers, there are 2 sets of tire barriers there. There's a set of tire barriers that goes around the rounded part of that wall, and then there's a straight wall of tires on the exit part, that straight wall afterwards. So why that car blew up? He hit the edge of that transition from one set of tires to the other. And that's also why Gardner and Matt Haas also had their engines fail on them when they hit that transition area as well. But that is such a tough break for Nathan Ormond because, as I said, he was running 2nd place for most of this race, dropped back to 3rd, but never fell outside the podium position today, and he gets taken out of this race not by any other race cars, but by a fatal error over in turn number 2. Getting ready to go back green flag racing. We will have, as I predicted, 6 laps to go in this one. It's Jonathan Zorlin, Charles Jackson, Kev Shearer, Eli Bright, Chris Dodd, the top 5. Then it's Mason Wood, Zach Flickinger, Pichu London, Tripataki Vernio, Jacob Rose, your top 10. Nathan Ormond has indeed taken his car behind the wall, as has Jay Jefferson. So we have 16 cars running, all on the lead lap, left to finish this one out at Mid-Ohio. And under this caution, I don't think anybody came to pit road. We, as mentioned, had quite a number of drivers elect to come to pit road under the last caution. Chris Dodd, Alexander Rowe, Pichu London, Zach Flickinger were amongst some of them. Jacob Rose was another. But not this time. Everyone wants to keep their track position here for what could be our final run to the checkers. Can Jonathan Zorlin hold him off? one last time. Green flag back in the air here at Mid-Ohio. And Charles Jackson's right there with him. He's going to look to the inside into one. Can he carry that momentum and keep the car on course here in turn 2? That's the question. He's going to be stuck on the high side here. Oh, he got off track, and he's off. Charles Jackson is off, and he is into the wall, and he has hit the outside wall. His day is over, and does that bring out a full course yellow? No, it does not. No full course yellow for that one. Charles Jackson was able to teleport back to pit road. He was running in second at the time. He tried to make the move for the win, potentially, and it's going to cost him a good finish here today. Battles on for third. Last week's winner, Chris Dodd, and the points leader, Eli Bright, for the third position. These two were running in the 5th and 6th position about 5 laps ago, and now with 2 drivers wrecking while running up in the top 3, they now find themselves in 3rd and 4th, and there's a spin! That, I believe, was Carson Gum and Noah Cars. It was indeed. Both cars spinning. They both get going, but the caution is out. And I think we will be able to get back green, but the yellow flag is out, and I'm not necessarily convinced the caution came out for that spin. Unless the pace car really boogied it off pit road, but it seemed like the pace car was awfully far away from pit road exit for that to have been the reason that the yellow flag came out. Not 100% certain. Did have a couple of cars back here, like Alexander Rowe and Austin LaPlante. I wonder if maybe they had an incident happen to them before the Carson Gum and Noah Cars incident. Whatever the case, though, it puts us under the caution for the 4th time today and sets us up for what could be maybe a 3-lap shootout, maybe a green-white checkered. We'll have to see. As Jonathan Zorlin, I said he had to do it one last time. Well, eat my words. He's got another time he's going to have to hold someone off here for another restart. And I was correct. There was an incident before the one involving Noah Cars and Carson Gum. This is 3 wide through this corner. And that is Alexander Rowe on the outside, Jacob Rose in the middle, and Austin LaPlante there on the bottom. Oh, wow. That was some pretty heavy contact with the front of the 22 of Alexander Rowe. Jacob Rose also with some pretty heavy contact. LaPlante appeared to hit with the right side of his race car. And there you see him sliding into this corner, and just up ahead at the top of the hill, that's where the incident happens with Carson Gum and Noah Cars. So we'll actually just do this all in one replay, rewind it back and see what happens here. Oh, looks like Carson Gum got out of shape. Noah Cars was to his, this would be his inside going into this corner, and oh, you know what happened? Noah Cars got a little bit better of a run into the corner than Carson Gum did. His right rear tire went into the back of Carson Gum's left rear tire. They both ended up having their tires hit each other, and that's what shot the 77 car airborne. Wow. I mean, it's with open wheel racing, that's something that happens. We haven't really seen many instances of that take place this season, but there's a perfect example of it right there. These wheels are exposed, and when they make contact with each other, that friction can cause a lot of drivers to catch some air. So this didn't bring out the caution. The incident before that did, but this was a follow-up wreck, so both incidents, regardless, probably would have brought out the caution nonetheless, and it sets us up for a potential shootout here today at Mid-Ohio. Here we go then, 3 laps to decide it all. If the caution comes out, I don't know if we would get back green. I do not know for certain. I think if the caution came out on this lap that we're coming to, we might have a 1-lap shootout. If we make it to 2 to go, though, and the caution comes out, the race will more than likely end under yellow. If we make it to the white flag, regardless, we will race back to the checkers. Jonathan Zorlin has been out in front for the majority of this thing. He had to fight his way there, and he has not gotten there without some battle scars. You can clearly see the rear wing of that 3 car is a little cockeyed, so I don't know if that's from getting into the wall, maybe making contact with somebody when trying to fight his way up to the race lead, but he also has not been able to escape the battle wounds of war here today at Mid-Ohio as we get ready to go back for the green flag. It's back out. 15 cars left to race this out as Charles Jackson has taken his car behind the wall. See Kev Shearer there. He kind of hung back, very wise. He's seen already a couple of drivers try and take the race lead from Zorlin down here into this corner, and it's cost them. Shearer all over the back bumper though, and this is the first time today Jonathan Zorlin has had pressure for that top position. How will he stand to it? Shearer looking for his second win of the season, Zorlin looking for his first. And don't look now, but the points leader Eli Bright is right there as well. As one car off track, that's Flickinger. He's going to bring it back onto the racetrack safely though. Battle on for the third position, Mason Wood hounding Eli Bright. As Zorlin begins to start and grow his advantage between himself and Kev Shearer. Let's jump back to that battle for third, and now Mason Wood slipping up through that corner, now surrenders that spot back to the 26. Chris Dodd off the racetrack. He's going to lose a spot to Tripataki Vernio. Here comes Pichu London, and Cole Baker now is back into the top 10 after he had that little adventure off turn 1. Vernio now up inside the top 5 as he's now looking for the 4th position off of Mason Wood. He's going to try the high side here into turn 2. And he had a tire there just on the grass. That was a little close for comfort. And he's going to get that momentum. He might be able to get the 4th position coming down here into this corner if he can outbrake Mason Wood. Chris Dodd right behind here, waiting to see what happens. Ooh, Vernio, a little wide through the corner, brings it back up onto the racing surface right in front of Chris Dodd, so he'll slip back into 5th still. Chris Dodd now hounding him for that spot, and Jonathan Zorlin has set sail. He is looking for one flag and one flag only, and that is the white. Because if he can get the white flag, that means that we will be racing back to the checkers. Oh, wow, I think Mason Wood messed up that corner again. That moves Vernio to 4th. Chris Dodd now into the 5th spot. And there it is. The white flag is out. We'll race back to the checkered flag regardless of what happens on this last lap. Jonathan Zorlin by about a second and a half over Kev Shearer. The only person I think right now who could hurt the chances of Zorlin going to victory lane is Jonathan Zorlin himself. He's just got to hit his marks. Kev Shearer has to hope Zorlin makes a mistake if he's going to have a shot at winning this thing. Eli Bright firmly in control of 3rd, Vernio in 4th. The battle best is on for 5th. Chris Dodd had it. Mason Wood was reeling him in. And now Wood has lost some ground. We got a battle going on for 7th. Pichu London and Zach Flickinger side by side. London off the course a little bit. Almost came back into the left rear quarter panel of Flickinger, and Flickinger now is into the wall off the uphill turn. Cole Baker now will try and move by for that spot. Meanwhile, Chris Dodd, he's going to get to the outside of Tripataki Vernio. He's trying to take away the 4th position. Off course just a bit. He keeps it in the throttle. Still side by side coming into this corner. Ooh, tries to get there. Can't quite do it. As coming through the final corner, Jonathan Zorlin will dominate today. First win of the season happens at Mid-Ohio. 2nd for Kev Shearer, Eli Bright 3rd, and Vernio holds off Chris Dodd to get 4th. Dodd will complete the top 5. Jonathan Zorlin makes it now 8 for 8. 8 races, 8 different race winners. And the odds of us going 11 for 11 this season continue to increase. This will be a much-needed points day for the driver that came in 18th in the standings. his first top 5 finish of the season, and as a consequence, his first podium finish of the year. Kev Shearer will get second. He came in 8th in points, so this will maybe put him back up inside the top 5 in the standings. And Eli Bright, Mr. Consistency. He hasn't won a race this season, but yet another top 5 finish for him. His 5th of the year, and he will undoubtedly continue to grow his points lead heading into next week's race. Vernio came into this race 6th in points, so this will put him into the top 5 in standings, and Chris Dodd, a follow-up finish of 5th after his win last week at Toronto. Standings are now official. We gave you your top 5. Let's go down through the top 10. Mason Wood will finish the day out in the 6th position. Pichu London there in 7th. Zach Flickinger in 8th. 9th for Cole Baker, and Jacob Rose in 10th. 8th, 9th, 10th. That's a bit of a comeback story for all 3 of those drivers. We saw Flickinger get into the wall in turn 2. We saw Cole Baker go out through the grass out of turn 1. And Jacob Rose, of course, got involved in a couple of incidents here today and still managed to get a top 10. Cars will get 11th. Carson Gum in 12th. Austin LaPlante finishes 13th. 14th for Alexander Rowe, and the last car to finish the race was 15th place, and that was Matthew Rodriguez. All the rest of the drivers finished out of the race. A couple of the drivers' heartbreaks. Charles Jackson and Nathan Ormond. Jackson wrecked out of the race when he was running in 2nd at the time. Nathan Ormond wrecked out of the race when running in the 3rd position at the time. They'll have to settle for 16th and 17th, respectively. Jay Jefferson will finish the day out in 18th, 19th for Jordan Lopez. Jake Rogers 20th, Matt Haas in 21st, and Johnny Gardner will finish the day in 22nd position. That is at least that I know of his 2nd DNF in dead last for the 2 car. So that is going to do it here today from Mid-Ohio. Next week, these drivers better be ready for some tricks because it's the Tricky Triangle, the 3-turned Pocono Raceway, next on the schedule next week before they head to Sonoma, our final road course stop of the season, and then the season finale at the Indianapolis 500 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Congratulations once again to Jonathan Zorlin on the win here today at Mid-Ohio. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race. If you did, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become part of the crew today. We've shown you full finish results, and these are your point standings heading into Pocono next week. I've been Seth Cole. We'll see you guys next time as you've been watching production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing Best.